Hi friends, welcome to Sada Learning Hub. You are with me, Shada Shara. Today's session we are going to learn the most important JSP interview questions. See here guys, before going to the interview, we need to know what are the questions interviewer going to ask. For that, I am going to prepare some most important Java interview questions. For this, here in this video, I am going to cover the 15 questions, most important questions. The first question is, what is session attribute? The session attribute indicates whether or not the JSP page uses the HTTP sessions. The value is true means that the JSP page has an access to built-in the session object, and the value of the false means that JSP page cannot access the built-in session object. Why you need to use the session object? See here, session means if you want to manage your information throughout the request, we need to maintain the session object. If you see in a shopping cart application, if we are adding a one item into your cart, we need to maintain that item up to completion of your purchase, up to completion of your shopping. In that case, we need to use session attribute. It supports the HTTP session. The next question is, what is isELIgnored attribute? The isELIgnored option gives you an ability to disable the evaluation of an expression language. If you want to know what is an expression language and all those things, just go through my previous videos. Find what is the expression language, how to write an expression language, and all those things, how to enable an expression language. But here is, I will explain in simple way. isELIgnored option gives you to an ability to disable an evaluation of an expression. Whenever you are writing an expression into your JSP, into this folder, the solid container need to evaluate that expression. For that, we need to say that to the solid container, we need to say to the JSP isELIgnored option. If the attribute is set to false, then the expressions are not evaluated but rather than treated as a static text. If you are setting isELIgnored option as a false, the solid container automatically it takes as in a static text. If you set the isELIgnored is equal to true, automatically it evaluates your expression. Whenever you are putting expression in between this tag, dollar brace open expression close brace, that is going take it as an expression language. The next question is, what is isScripting enabled attribute? The isScripting enabled attribute determines if the scripting elements are allowed for use. The default value enables scripting expressions and declarations. If the attribute is false, it is set to false. The transaction time error will be raised if an JSP uses any scripting expressions or declarations. See here, into your JSP you are using, if you want to restrict your declaration tags or expression tags or scriptlet tags, you can just disable it is scripting enabled is equal to false. Automatically it is going to disable scriptlet tag, expression tag and declaration tag. Whenever you are in the translation time, it is going to an error. It raised an error will rising if the JSP uses any scriptlet. If you are putting isScriptlet enabled is equal to false. By default it is true. The next question is, what is the include directive? The include directive is used to including a files during the translation phase. See here, if you want to include your one page into another page, just we can put it in by using the include directive. See here, it includes at the translation phase. This directive tells the container to merge the content of other external files with the current JSP page during the translation phase. You may code include directive anywhere in your JSP page. The general use of form of this directive is we can follow like this. See here, simply if you want to include one JSP page into the another JSP, just we can use include directive. Whenever the translation page automatically it includes that particular page. Whatever page you are given, it automatically includes that particular. It may be a page or it may be a file or it may be anything. The next one is what is the taglib directive? See here, the taglib directive follows. This is the syntax. The taglib, URI and the prefix. URI attribute values resolves the location of the container. Understanding the prefix attribute informs the container what bits of a markup of custom actions. The taglib directives we can use like this. See here, there is a JSTL tags are available into your JSP, or if you want to creating your custom tags, we need to import those tags into your JSP pages. In that situation, we need to use a taglib directives. For that, while using your tags, we need to put before the prefix into your tag. For that, we need to import what are the different tags. If you are a custom tags or it may be any other third-party tags, we need to import into your JSP page by using the taglib directive. How we are importing a Java files into your JSP by using the import attribute, import tag. At the same thing, we can import our tags, third-party tags or it may be a custom tags. We need to use a taglib directive. This is the way to import our taglib directive. We can use taglib URI, whatever the URI you want importing. In that URI, there is a tags related code is available and a prefix. Whenever you are using the word tag, we need to put before into your tag. The next one is what do the ID and the scope attribute means in the action element? What do the ID and the scope attribute means in the action elements? ID attribute. The ID attribute is uniquely identifies the action elements and allows the actions to be referenced into the JSP page. If an action creates an instance of an object, ID value can be used in the reference if through the implicit object's page context. See here, ID itself, saying that identification. If you want to use that tag, action tag into any of other tags, just we can use it our ID reference. We can use that particular tag. The next one is scope. Scope attribute. This attribute identifies the life cycle of an action elements. The ID attribute and the scope attribute is directly related as the scope attribute determines the lifespan of the object associated with the ID. The scope attribute has a 4 possible values. If you see you are created one action tag, but we need to set the scope. It may be a request to scope into that particular request. It may be a scope, page scope, means that ID is only useful into that particular page only. It may be a session scope. It will be useful for throughout the session, or it may be an application scope. The values may be used in throughout the application. The next question is what is the function of JSP include action? If you see is Standard action if you see standard include, what it does, it includes the JSP page, or it may be a servlet, or it may be anything file. But if you see this JSP colon include action, this action lets you to insert your files into your page being generated. If you see, the syntax is like this, we can use this action tags lets you insert the files into a page being generated. The next question is, where page is the relative URL of the page to be included? A flush is a Boolean attribute that determines whether the included resources has been buffered flushed before the include. If you see, the question is, where page is the relative URL of the page to be included. The flush is a Boolean attribute that determines whether the include resources has been buffered flushed before it can be included. The next question is, what is the difference between include action and include directive? If you see, include is available in the two places. The first place is include action, and the second one is includes directive. But, but what are the differences? Unlike that, include directive, which inserts the files at the time of JSP page translated into the servlet. See here, the include directive. The include directive inserting files at the time of translation page. But include action inserts the files at the time of page is requested. Means it is the response inclusion. Right? The next question is, what is JSP colon useBean action? The useBean action is a quite versatile. If the first searches for this existing object utilizing the ID and the scope variables, if an object is not found, and then it tries to create a specific object, it is simplest way to load a bean of the follows. If you use this, it can be created like this. Means the useBean, it is used to separate your business logic. It is used to reduce your Java code into your JSP. It is nothing but a POSO classes. This useBean, whenever you are requesting, first it is going to check the object is available or not. If it is available, based on that scope, it returns. Otherwise, it creates a new bean object. The next question is, what is JSP colon setProperty action? The setProperty action sets the properties of a bean. The bean must have been previously defined before this action. If you see useBean means first it checks the bean object is available or not. If it is not available, it will be create a bean object. After that, we need to use setProperty. Before using the setProperty, the bean must and should be created. The setProperty action sets the properties of the bean. The bean must have been created previously defined before this action. The next one is, what is JSP colon getProperty action? The getProperty action is used to retrieve the values of a given property of a converted into the string, and finally it inserts the into output. See here, you are creating a bean by using the useBean property. Sorry, useBean tag, action tag. After that, you are setting the value by using the setProperty action tag. Now we are using the getProperty to retrieving the values from that particular bean action, bean tag. These are the three you can use the bean, Java standard beans. The next question is, what is the JSP colon forward? The forward action determines the action of a current page and forwards the request to the another resource, such as a static pages, another JSP pages, or a Java servlets. See here, the forward itself, meaning itself is saying, we can forward your request to another JSP or another servlet or another JavaScript. Sorry, another pages, HTML pages or a JSP pages or servlet pages. We can forward your request. The next, what is a JSP colon plugin action? If you see JSP colon plugin action, the plugin action is used to insert the Java components into your JSP page. It determines the type of the browser and inserts the or tags to it needs. If the needed plugin is not present, it downloads the plugin and then executes the Java component. The Java component can be either it may be applet or a Java bean. For example, you are created one applet, but if you want to show into your JSP page, in that colon you can use your JSP colon plugin tag to insert a applet into your JSP. The next question is, what are the different scopes values for the JSP action? If you see, there is a 4 scopes are available. The scope attributes identifies the life cycle of an action elements. It has a 4 possible values. The first one is page scope. Whenever you are putting a scope attribute as a page scope, it can be accessible only within that particular page only. If you are putting a scope attributes as a request scope, it can be the life of that scope attribute for the throughout the request. If you are putting the session scope, the scope attribute is lives throughout that particular session. If you are putting the scope attribute is an application, the life of that particular scope attribute, whenever the application is going to start, it starts that attribute whenever application is going to kill, or whenever it is going to application is crash, that attribute is also going to kill or crashed. These are the 4 different scopes are available for the JSP action attributes. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Next video I am going to cover next 15 questions.
Thank you so much watching this video. Hope this lesson helpful to you. Keep watching our lessons. Keep writing to us. Do not forget subscribe our channel SADA.Learning Hub because we have many sessions that would help you to develop our skills, and I will be back soon. Till then you take care. Bye bye.